Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the IADC University of Bomardes Student Chapter episode IADC Talk, a platform where we share insights, knowledge, and guidance from industry leaders. Today, we are honored to have two esteemed guests from the International Association of Training Contractors, Mike DuBose, Senior Vice President of the IADC, and Hisham Zebian, Vice President of the Eastern Hemisphere at the IDC. Mike and Hisham, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we are excited to dive into today's conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, Matt, for the invite.
Thank you. So, Mike, let's start with your journey. How did you first get involved with IDC, and what inspired you to take on a leadership role within the organization?
Well, thank you. We appreciate the invitation, and it's the first podcast for me, but hopefully it will come off quite well. So, yes, I started my career working for a drilling contractor, and my first, I suppose, my first affiliation with the IADC was through the IADC Daily Drilling Report. So I was familiar with IADC from the technical publications perspective, the drilling manual, the daily drilling report, some other technical publications, the drilling contractor magazine. So I retired from the drilling contractor in 2013. And I had some good friends and good colleagues that worked directly for IADC, and they contacted me almost immediately and they said, we need some assistance to grow the international reach of IADC. I had spoken at a number of IADC conferences, chaired a number of committees, so I was quite familiar with the inner workings of IADC. So that's how I started with IADC. I'm pleased to report that we have been able to grow the international footprint significantly. We have a number of chapters overseas now, and about 6 years ago, we started the Student Chapter Initiative, and we now have 21 student chapters around the world.
Thank you, Mike. That's so interesting, especially for me as a training student. Yeah. So, Hisham, let's hear about your story. How did you become involved with IDC, and what has been the most rewarding aspect of your journey so far?
So, my journey with IADC is that I started my career at a company in the EPC sector or EPC side of the business, which is the engineering, procurement, and construction. This is the kind of companies that usually are involved in building process plants, pipelines, and doing like the design and the construction. So this is where I started. After that, I moved to NOV, which is National Oil Well Varco. And this is more on the upstream side. And this is where I started to become more familiar with IADC, with the technical publications, with like the manuals and the safety guidelines that used to be in our offices, and the drilling magazine, the drilling contractor magazine that is the official magazine of the IADC. I was able also to attend one of the IADC conferences while I was during my NOV days, and that was when I got like a first-hand experience also, and it was like a really good conference. I remember it was in Dubai, and we got invited there, and it was truly one of the memorable first conferences that I've ever attended for IADC. So that is my journey. And then 2 years later, in 2017, after I attended that conference, so in 2017, there was a job opening on LinkedIn. Believe it or not, people are very doubtful about all of these job openings that you see on LinkedIn, and they say like, no, we don't have a chance. Hundreds of people apply on these openings. But believe it or not, I was able to secure the job through LinkedIn, although it was a tough competition. But yeah, I was the one who was chosen for this job. And I think the most rewarding aspect from my side is that every time every time I do travel with IADC to different parts of the world, I am always reminded of how global this industry is, and uh, and how also like how small is the oil and gas world is. So and I think the second rewarding aspect of working for the IADC is that now I'm getting the chance to give back to the industry. So this is also like giving back is also something really important, and we're very happy to do that, especially what Mike has mentioned through the student chapters. And here, this is like a relatively new initiative that the IDC has been involved in, and we're trying to give back also to the young generation as well.
Thank you, Hisham. Really inspiring story also. You guys really have inspiring stories. I'm eager to hear more in our next meeting. Okay, so Mike, let's take a step back and talk about IDC as a whole. Could you provide a brief overview of IDC and its mission, and how does IDC work to promote safety, innovation, and global standards across the oil and gas industry?
Yes, certainly. So the mission at IEDC is to catalyze improved performance for the drilling industry. And our vision basically is for the drilling industry to be recognized for the vital role that we play in the global economy, but also the high standards of safety and environmental stewardship. And we try to reach that through a network of domestic chapters in the US and also regional chapters around the world. So IEDC was founded in 1940. So next year, 2025, will be 85 years of representing the industry for IEDC, and we're a nonprofit trade association, and we work in the members are the mission. So the member companies, it's a little bit different than some other industry organizations like SPE, for example. Hisham joins SPE as an individual, but with IEDC, you join as a company. So if Halliburton joins IEDC and becomes a member company of IEDC, every Halliburton employee around the world is considered a member of IEDC. So generally speaking, when you work around the globe, as Hisham mentioned, if you go to a region, if there is an IEDC chapter, then you have an opportunity to meet, to make some fast friends with people in the industry, and to also enjoy some social activities as well as technical industry events.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I think that's the key difference compared with other nonprofit organization. To join the association as company is really different of joining it as a member. So we're gonna offer a lot of opportunities for the whole company employment. Yeah. So it's clear that IDC plays a critical role in shaping the industry. Mike, let's look at some numbers. Could you share some key statistics about IDC global presence, like how many companies are members, how many regional chapters exist, and how are these chapters distributed worldwide?
Yes, certainly. So essentially, there are three membership categories within IADC. So it is a drilling contractors association. So as you would expect, the people that own and operate the rigs, the drilling contractors around the world, we have 185 drilling contractor members of IADC. Now that's both onshore and offshore. And then we have 7 producer members or operators companies that are members of IEDC. So Petrobras in Brazil, PTTEP, the national oil company in Thailand, Petronas. These are all members of IADC, as well as Chevron, Exxon, Total, the major producers around the world. And we understand that obviously these international companies are where we hope to find and maintain work. But at the same time, it's a drilling contractors association. So the officers, the executive committee are made up of members of drilling contractor companies. And then our largest segment of membership is the associate member category. The associate members would be service providers such as Halliburton, SLB, Baker Hughes, huge corporations on a global scale, all the way down to Joe's Well Service, which is one guy in a pickup truck out in West Texas. They're all associate members, and our universities are associate members as well. So at the moment, we have about 644 associate member companies and affiliates with IADC. So on a global scale, we represent about 836 member companies in IADC. We've got 10 regional chapters overseas. Hisham and our other team members are distributed around the world, and they act as regional representatives for IADC to represent us locally. And then they report back to Houston as to what's going right in their region, where they could use some assistance, some of the challenges that they may have. And then IADC uses our global network to try to assist the members in these regional areas. And then domestically here in the US, we have about 8 member companies, 8 chapters here in the US domestically.
These are really impressive numbers, Mike. Thank you for providing all this information.
IADC Podcast.
Building on that, Hisham, regional chapters play a vital role in connecting professionals and students. So, what role do they play in supporting student chapters? And how can they further enhance student involvement in industry activities and career development?
Thank you very much for that question. So, regional chapters actually play a very important role in acting as the guiding entity to the student chapters. So, ideally, in a region where we do have a regional chapter and a student chapter, the relationship should be very close between both entities. And it's not a one-way relationship. So the regional chapter should support the student chapter and providing them maybe with sometimes like even some financial assistance if required. They can provide them with speakers, give them opportunity to visit the offices of the members, maybe like the yards, the a rig, maybe like help them arrange a rig visit or stuff like this. Anything that would benefit the students and the community as a whole. And in return, I think also the student chapters can assist a lot the regional chapters as well, in promoting what they're doing, maybe like helping them with some of the or like on the organization part, for example, because as you know, all the people who help us at IADC through the chapters are people who do this on a voluntary basis. So these people really believe in what we're doing, and they're not they're just like basically doing this without any financial return. And they all have full-time jobs, and they just do this for the sake of helping the community and trying to give back. I mean, it's possibly, I mean, this is basically what the whole mission is about, is that how can we all help each other and trying to give back to the industry and the community.
Thank you, Hisham, for sharing the information. We have no doubt that IDC regional chapters are doing impressive work for students worldwide. I came back to Mike in the same side, and I want to say that Mike, student chapters are essential for developing the future leaders of the industry. So, how does IDC view the role of student chapters in preparing students for career in oil and gas, and how does the organization empower them?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Ahmed. The IADC Student Chapter Initiative only came to be about 6 years ago. We took a look around at chapter meetings, IADC conferences, IADC committee meetings, and rarely did we see anybody in the room less than about 35 years of age, often less than 40 years of age. And so we realized as an association that we had a much larger role to play to try to tell our story and attract the younger professionals to our industry. We as an industry, we did a very poor job, and we allowed social media to get miles out in front of us as an industry to convince a whole generation of young professionals that starting next Tuesday, the world was never going to need another barrel of oil and gas. And that's simply not reality. And so we had to play a bit of catch up. And so we met with the IADC president and some of the chapter officers for the Houston chapter at that time. We asked the IADC president about this concept of a student chapter outreach to local universities, international universities, to where we could go in initially to the engineering department to say, we have no doubt that you are getting a first-class pure academic education, but where we believe you are lacking a bit is some practical exposure to the industry. The opportunity to go and visit a working rig, the opportunity to attend an IADC or an industry conference, networking opportunities to allow you to gain internships and eventually to gain a job, a career in the industry. So I'm pleased to say that they took that concept on board and they provided some funding because generally speaking, most students are strapped for funds, and it's difficult for them to attend an IADC conference in Muscat, Oman, or these far-flung regions around the world. So I'm pleased to say that they offer, and we offer 100% sponsorship for the students to attend IADC conferences and industry events, flights, hotels, conference registration, meals. We cover all of that. And it's been a tremendous success. It certainly far exceeded my expectation. There's been a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes, of course, to organize all of that. And we've been very blessed to have some very dedicated people. And once the industry professionals began to see these students attending, they began to mix and mingle with them. You know, what are you studying? Mechanical engineer, petroleum engineer, finance, business major, whatever the case may be, because we need all of these different disciplines in the industry. And some have been the direct beneficiary of the student chapter program, and they hold that up as an example for how they achieve their job that they have today. So it's just been a fantastic response. We hope to be able to grow the program in coming years and have more student chapters around the world, because we believe that the practical exposure piece is where IADC can really step in and help to bring some of the young professionals to some of these rig visits, factory tours, and things of that nature to let them see firsthand what it's truly like out there in the field.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing all this, and I'm happy to be part of last conference of the IDC. I'm sure that this initiative will open a lot of doors in my career as I move forward. So thanks to the IDC for these initiatives.
We're happy to help.
Yeah. Hisham, based on this IDC vision, How do you see these goals influencing the development of student chapters and their engagement within the industry?
So I think I think that the student chapters also, like as I've mentioned, they're playing a very good role in assisting the students and spreading the good word to the community, trying to attract more people to the industry. And and at the same time, I think a lot of those student chapters are also doing non-technical initiatives and assisting like in cultural things and helping people in need, shedding light on some of the things that we actually don't see on in our daily lives. And I think this all goes also under the main missions of IADC. I mean, IADC is about trying to trying to assist, trying to be inclusive and inclusive of everyone, and trying to be like the association or like the platform that can try to help and share information. I mean, this is how it all started back in 1940. It was a group of people who used to sit together, share information with each other, uh, try to like teach or like get some like lessons learned from whatever like bad things that happened or accidents, and so that like those things won't happen again. So I think whatever is the student chapter doing, and in each region different student chapters do different things depending on the nature of the region and what the community requires. But I think the student chapters are definitely in everything they're doing in line with the IADC vision, and we're very proud of them.
Thank you, Hisham.
IADC Podcast.
I still always with you. Speaking of engagement, from your perspective, what are the most important skills that student chapters should focus on to better prepare their members for the workforce in the oil and gas industry?
So basically, there are a number of skills that I think students need to take into consideration before they enter the workforce, or maybe try to develop those skills. Uh, some students, some people already like develop those skills through the extracurricular activities that they're involved in, maybe like through student elections or maybe through the different things that they used to do in addition to the like academic part and their universities. But I think there are like a number of skills that students would need to focus on. I would just like briefly point out a few of those skills, and I will not like dive like deep into the details of them. But I mean, critical thinking and problem solving is one of the skills. I mean, this is something that I think we do face every day. I mean, every day you need to solve a lot of problems that you face in your daily lives. It could be like very simple problems, and sometimes they're very complicated. But definitely, this is one of the skills that students need to focus on. Uh, Agility and adaptability is also like a very good skill that probably the students need to focus on in terms of like being flexible and being adaptable to change, especially that this is a global industry, and one day you might be required to go there. The other day, you're required to go to another place, and things change. And in a single day, like there's always like plans changing and things going on. So also like trying to be agile and adapt to those changes is also like very important. Collaboration is also like something, one of the skills, which is like working with other people, know how to engage with others and work as a team member. So this is also very important skill because our industry is not is based on different teams working together. We're not like someone who writes a code, like one individual can sit on his computer and write a code on his own and just sell the program or the software to. So our industry is not like that. It's more based on a group of people working together. Taking initiative is also like one of the skills. So, this is where I praise all the good work that you've done, because you have taken a lot of initiatives, and by reaching out to us and by making the Boumerdeh student chapter a reality. So this is something you definitely take a very big credit for. Uh, effective communication also is something. So this comes also with the collaboration part. So also like communication and soft skills, know how to work with other people, get your message delivered to other people. This is also like something very important, and act as a leader. Sometimes you need to be act as a good leader, and this is also like something that comes with experience and with time. Uh, Accessing and analyzing information, this is something now is relatively easy. We all have a lot of access to information. Back in the days, it was more difficult to access information, but I mean, now with all of this information that we have, just like in the palm of our hands, analyzing information is also very important, you know. So making use of this vast amount of information you have. And I think the last point I would say is curiosity. So students should always be curious, try to learn more, ask questions. This is something that we've also mentioned to the students who were attending our conference in Muscat in Oman. And this is we also like mention this to all of the students that we encounter and who attend our conferences, that always be curious, ask questions. There isn't something as a stupid question. So and you know, don't be shy. Try to go to people, try to know more about them, and learn from the different experiences and the different stories of the people who have been in the industry for decades and a number of years.
Thank you, Hisham. These are really critical skills to get adopted and well prepared for the challenges in the industry, especially in oil and gas. So thank you. Question for Mike. IDC has a powerful network of companies and regional chapters. So, can you explain how these chapters contribute to IDC's mission, particularly in promoting industry standards and advancing safety practices globally?
Yes, certainly. So one of the things that IADC is the storehouse for the Incident Statistics Program. So going all the way back to 1960, just the drilling contractors, not the operators, not the service providers, but just the drilling contractors report on an anonymous basis to IADC, and it allows us to build a database of lost time incident frequency rates, fatalities, medical days away from work. So we have a database that we can search, and we also send out safety alerts when they come to us about things that there may be a product recall or something of that nature, that we get this information out to the members in a timely fashion. And so utilizing this global network, we're able to track incidents. We release a quarterly report so the industry can look and see how their particular company, how a particular region or an aspect of their business, how does that measure up against other drilling contractors on a global scale. And it's also useful for the operator community. It's a yardstick, it's a measuring mechanism, so they can see, are we improving? Where do we need to concentrate more? Because it's broken down by land and offshore, and it's broken down by region as well. And then we publish an in-depth yearly annual report where you can go back and look at the type of injury. Was it a slip, trip, and fall? Was it a caught between? Was it a dropped object? All of those things have been analyzed. What time of the day did the incident occur? How many days into the hitch did the incident occur? How long did the injured party hold his particular job? How long has he been an employee? So all of these critical metrics that can be used to help the industry get better. Because the primary role for IADC is to be a platform, to be a conduit for our members to come together and to leave their company hat at the door and say, I'm here on behalf of the industry to listen, to learn, to contribute, and then to help us collectively move forward and to get better.
Thank you, Mike, for the information.
IADC Podcast.
I want to inform you that we reached the last part of our podcast episode. So I'm gonna ask the last common question for both you, Hisham and Mike. My question is, what advice would you give to students involved in IDC chapters or who aspire to lead in the oil and gas industry? And then, if you have any special message to the IDC University of Boomerdale student chapter.
Who would you like to go first?
As you like, one of you.
Mike, please go first.
Well, thank you. Hisham, of course, touched on some very critical components earlier, but I would just like to add to that, if I may. First of all, no matter if you choose to enter our industry or another industry, it's critical for young professionals to know you are in the relationship business. The relationships that you have with your colleagues, the foundations that you're building through your educational platform, and then as you begin to enter the industry, I have dear friends and dear colleagues that I've not heard from or spoken to in 20 years. I call them on the phone, they answer on the second ring. Yes, sir. How are you? How can I help? That's the type of relationships that you have the opportunity to build. The other thing that I would suggest is that I would urge young professionals, young students to be two things. Number one, and Hisham touched on it earlier, a lifelong learner. There's no question you're building a very strong foundation, educational foundation, but at today's rate of technology and the way that things are moving, anybody that believes when they walk across the stage and accept their degree that the learning ends there, they're sadly mistaken. So be a lifelong learner. And the second thing is to be a lifetime investor. As people enter the industry, you have a tremendous opportunity to be a wise investor, to contribute to your company's retirement plans, stock plans, whatever the case may be. But beginning very early in your career, you will be very well off when you get many years down the road, and you'll be able to do much better for yourself and your family. The second thing, or the third thing, I suppose, is that I believe Stephen Jobs said that real corporate growth begins when comfort ends. And what he meant there, in my opinion, is that when we challenge ourselves and we step out of what we know and what has surrounded us, and we take the opportunity that is presented to us, then that's where real career growth begins. So as our young professionals go through their university education, they begin to enter the industry, they start their career journeys, there will be opportunities presented. And again, we're a global industry. We need someone to go to West Africa. Send me, I will go. Is it what we are comfortable with? Is it what we know and we know exactly where no, we do not. But that's when the real challenge begins, and I would dare say that's when the real growth begins. I know for me personally, one of the step changes in my career, I had worked offshore for 17 years on the rigs, and I was offered an opportunity for a shore-based rig manager's job. I was working in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico at the time, and the opportunity would be to move my family and to work in the UK. I was very uncertain, as most people would be. I was somewhat familiar with the operation there, but I said, yes, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I will go. And it was a turning point in my career. So I would just urge all of our students to seize those opportunities when they're presented. We're very, very pleased with the growth that we have seen, the engagement with your initiative personally to grow this university chapter. And I think what we saw and what everybody experienced in Muscat a couple of weeks ago, it's just been a tremendous opportunity, and there's much more to come.
IADC Podcast.
Okay, let's hear your thoughts, Hisham, about same question. So, what advice would you give to students' involvement in IDC chapters or who aspire to lead in the oil and gas industry? And then a special message for IDC University of Bombardell student chapter.
So, I think the advice for students, mainly who are planning to join the industry, is to make sure that they have hands-on experience. It's very important to have that, especially in our industry. Our industry, I mean, you can have a PhD in oil and gas, but also if you don't have actual experience, hands-on, on the field, on a drilling rig or in a fabrication yard or wherever like everything is being assembled, then I think I think uh, I think it will make a big difference. I mean, a lot of people I know that they prefer to stay in the office or to stay in the headquarters of a company, but this field experience does make a big difference. And if you look at most of the CEOs, most of the senior VPs who work for these companies, they almost all have field experience. They're people who came from the field. And I would like to shed some experience, some reasons why does this happen? Because our industry involves some risks and some hazards, and uh, I mean, I just would like to compare it with aviation, for example. You can study to become a pilot for so many years. You can study the basis of aviation, of aerodynamics, how does the plane fly, uh, and you can probably like do a lot of hours on the simulator, but unless you do the actual hours on a plane where you fly a plane and then you gather the flying man hours, this is when you are only able to get promoted to become a captain and like a first officer and then a captain, and then you would be someone who can lead the plane. So you need to have like so much hours. You need to build your profile and your experience, and then you are able to get promoted to these senior positions. And the reason behind this is that even if you uh, you study, you have a PhD in oil and gas, but I mean, when an accident happens, or uh, uh, when you are in a critical situation, this is experience is the thing that will allow you to get out of this situation safely and to get the people who are working with you to get them back home safely. And it's not something that you read in the textbook. I mean, you can train for it, you can read about it, but also experience is what will get us safely. And because of the nature of our job, uh, yes, you need like to do these to get a good amount of experience before you are promoted and you become senior. And that's why, like, in the industry of IT, for example, information technology, you can see like all of these software companies and let's say the technology companies, all of the CEOs are very young people. Some of them are in their 20s. But again, as I told you, the nature of our industry uh, is high risk, and it has uh, like you never see that a coder passed away in his job, but unfortunately, this still happens in our industry, and this is why IADC is there to try to assist the industry in reducing these numbers and making our industry a safe one. But this is the nature of the industry. So yeah, my advice is yeah, I mean, do not shy away from going to the field, getting your hands dirty, and uh, and then good things will come after that. Trust me.
Yeah, thank you, Hisham. Any special word for IDC Boomerdus?
I think I would like to say keep up the great work and always try to in everything that you do or uh, that the people that you work with, and hopefully in the near future you will become a leader and you will be also like mentoring people who are less experienced than you. Always make sure that there's continuity and share information, because sometimes you later when you join the workforce you will start working with different types of people, and sometimes you will see people who don't like to share information and would like to keep things for themselves, thinking that if they do that, then they or maybe they would think probably that if they share information that then they wouldn't be of any value anymore. But no, it's actually the on the contrary, that you should share information and you should try to help others. You should try to pass on this information to the generations who are coming after you. And this is the only way how to for us to maintain continuity. And I think this applies to everyone. It even applies to you as a chairman of the Bumerde student chapter, or a past chairman now. But yeah, you need to pass on your experience and and uh, and the information that you were able to gather in the past few months, so that the the student chapter will be able to continue to progress and to grow. And this is actually one of the main keys of success, to maintain continuity, plan for the future, and make it happen.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Hisham. Same thing for you, Mike. Have you a special word for the IDC University of Boomerdus in the chapter?
Yes, thank you. Initially, I was concerned, I was somewhat reluctant about should we start up a chapter, because we did not have a regional chapter close by that we could link the Boomerdez chapter to. But I must say, all of those concerns, all of those doubts have been discarded now. The student chapter is moving forward at a rapid rate. The growth, the contribution that we have seen, the willingness to put your shoulder to the wheel, everybody is engaged and involved. It's just been a fantastic response, and we appreciate all of the effort that has gone into it so far. I know personally you're very heavily invested in it, the faculty advisors, but we hope to make it bigger and better as we move forward. So well done so far. We'll continue to support, and we look forward to working together in the future.
Thank you, Mike, and we hope that we can rise higher level really soon. So we reached the end of this episode. Thank you, Hisham. Thank you, Mike, for sharing such valuable insights, experiences, and stories with us. It has been an honor to have you both as part of our first episode. To everyone watching, we hope you enjoyed this session and found it insightful. If you did, please do not hesitate to like, rate, and share this video with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more episodes and inspiring discussion with industry leaders. Lastly, I want to inform you that we are active on 5 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. Stay connected with us for updates, content, and more. Thank you for your time and see you in the next episode.
IADC Podcast.